Okay. Hey, welcome everybody out and now live. And last week we talked about, actually 2 weeks ago it was, we talked about which homestead livestock would be best for you. So if anybody wants to comment on that, I don't think many of you were at that one, but we went through kind of a rundown on what animals might be best for your homestead, and with a bias towards things that wouldn't break the bank at the feed store, and with a bias that the smaller the animal is, the more efficient it is. So, which kind of got down to like bees being the number one possibility because they don't even have to take up any of your own land, and theoretically they can forage for their own food and build their own housing. So anyway, we have a lot of drawbacks too, but including the educational requirement. But anyway, so today, going through the markets a little bit. Um, Markets were down today, and we're going to go through some different markets than we normally do just because of what's going on. So I've been pounding on this diversification thing for a while here. Today, gold was up a little bit at 26.95, and goldbacks were up a little bit. And there's they were at 536, and a new announcement is Florida has just started issuing goldbacks. Well, I'm not sure they've issued them yet, but they're available for pre-order right now. And so that's the sixth state that has goldbacks now. And they came out with a little different wrinkle. You can get a half goldback from Florida. So that's one goldback is normally 1,000th of an ounce, and a half goldback is like 2,000ths of an ounce. So that would be have a transaction value of like $2.68, which gets it down to a smaller denomination of things you could buy with it. And with goldbacks been over $5 for quite a while, that was getting to be a little bit of a problem. Silver was up a couple of pennies at almost $32. Tilton zeros were down today a little bit. That's for long-term treasury ETFs. Maybe an opportunity there. Wheat was up a little bit, but still under $5, which I think is one of the great steals. I mean, we even have plenty of biblical guidance that that's a good investment. But I'm gonna skip over for brevity's sake these next two, which are commodity ETFs, and go right to XAR, which is the Military Industrial Complex ETF. And everything in that except for GE was up today, which doesn't surprise me at all with what's going on in the Middle East and in Europe. But and GE was only down a nickel, so you could pretty much say everything was up. So like I said, no surprise. Oil was up a little bit, not very much, but I'm still gonna short it again if we get a war bounce of a couple of bucks. I think intermediate term, it's probably going to go down below $65 a barrel. So my Bitcoin was up over 96,000 today. Not up a lot, but compared to where it's been, it was down from last week. Ethereum was down a few dollars. That's about all I'm going to say about those, because one of the theses that we're going to talk about is that Bitcoin dominance is over. I've been saying for, I guess ever since COVID that, these two were the only cryptos that are worth buying, and everything else is junk. And I'm come to the conclusion over the last month that that's no longer true. And so everybody can have their opinion about that. But since the election, Bitcoin, well, if we'd done this, and I did do this last week these numbers were a lot higher, but as of today, for the last 30 days, Bitcoin is up 21% since the election, or since the last 30 days. Ethereum was up 14%. XRP is up 302%. XLM or Stella is up 300%. And HBAR is up 424%. And last week, at this time, it was like 653%, I believe. So anyway, so the reason I'm concentrating on these last three here is because all of them are associated either with a CBDC, central bank digital currency, or the BRICS, transfer and currency, and the SWIFT system. So all of these have great potential to, this could just be the beginning, but first time will tell. That means they got a lot of risk too. But so going on, we'll get more and more about these later on. But of course, we're all looking at a record 1.1 trillion in expense, just interest expense over the last fiscal year that just ended. And we've got a $36 trillion debt. And a lot of people are laying off people, like Boeing, for example. So I keep saying, just like a water plan, do you have an unemployment plan? Assuming you're still working. Of course, we've got a lot of things going on with that. Got a war in the Middle East, Iran and Syria potential. Syria, I don't know whether you've heard about it. It doesn't seem to make a lot of play on the news, but Syria is about to lose their civil war, or at least the de facto ruler of Syria, anyway. And I'm just scared to death that Biden's going to throw that one over onto, or throw Trump into that briar patch before he leaves. So that's all we need, is one more war there. And of course, Ukraine's still in the news, and it's not looking good for Ukraine. But we keep poking the bear. Really, really scary nowadays. So anyway. So seasonal information. It's time of the year for flus and colds, and COVID's back. We can attest to that. And you might want to get your free tests there at covidtest.gov. I'd like to go buying $25 ones at the drugstore the other day. But now we've ordered free ones. Might want to have those on hand. What was that?
We received them too.
Oh, good. So, and seasonal things, time to plant trees in the fall. Get this rain on them would be great. And of course, if you're going to plant some trees, you might need to order some. Um, and still, you could still plant garlic probably. Kind of late to feed your bees if you haven't already. But order seeds. Our mailbox has just been awash in seed catalogs. They keep coming out earlier and earlier these days. Been talking about getting a hunting license. Not too late for that. Um, I hope everybody's got some potassium iodine, just in case, insurance position. It's a good time to, can't do too much in the garden right now. Good time to start a livestock hole on. And if you're not familiar with that term, a hole on is something that is simultaneously a whole in itself, all itself, as well as part of a larger whole. So in this way, a hole on can be considered a subsystem within a larger hierarchy. But it's really good if the hole on can the input to your new hole on can be an output from an old hole on. Like example would be a worm bed under a rabbit cage or something like that, where you have one output going into another input. Free food. So, any progress anybody would like to share of things they've been working on that might inspire the rest of us to get off our duff?
I moved a lot of shingles.
Good. Toting a lot of things from Mesa too. I think it's amazing the amount of waste in the food system nowadays. It appears that the retail food establishments did not have a very good Thanksgiving. They had to give away a lot of outdated food.
Yeah, seemed I got that impression at the grocery store.
Hmm. Things things were there, but not selling.
Yeah,
Yeah, they seem to have really overstocked compared to what they sold.
yep, exactly.
More than a pickup load the last 2 weeks, twice a week. So, anybody made any good acquisitions? Ammo and even primers seem to be kind of available now at exorbitant prices, but
I got my water filters from our past meeting that we
uh-huh.
came across, but they're on the project pile now.
Ones that go under the sink or
Yeah, that type. Yeah, like the bank of I don't remember 4 or 5 or 6 filters or something.
okay. Well, let's get into the topic of the day here. Um, Last week I was pretty much focused on XRP before I found out all these other things, but um, and I asked AI why XRP had risen over 350% in the last month, and actually AI had a pretty cogent response to this. I was kind of surprised. It said XRP's remarkable surge of almost 300% since the election can be attributed to several key factors. And firstly, it said the changing political environment in the United States, the Donald Trump's election, and the Ripple lawsuit probably going to be dropped, and it's kind of the news overhanging Ripple's company. and cryptocurrency in general. But with Gensler out of there, and I think that's gonna come to fruition probably before January 20th. So everything kind of lined up for Ripple or XRP, and plus um, I had to add this one in. Bitcoin dominance seems to have subsided since the election. So that's been in effect for at least 3 years. It's kind of a big change. And lastly, speculation about potential Ripple IPO, which will probably happen in 25. So that's pushing it. And um, RLUSD. So Ripple Labs is coming out with their own stable coin. That should be out soon also. So that makes all the stock of XRP kind of go up. But since that last week, we've had quite a pullback in all of these. And so anyway, so that's what AI says. And now what I think I know is that Brick Swift and the Bank of International Settlements are going to use XRP and HBAR in the transport layer of their cryptocurrencies, or whether you call them cryptos or not, they or digital currencies, I guess. So anybody have any insight in that theory of mine, or know more about that than I do?
Well, for me, XRP is definitely going to be the international, way money gets moved around. It's it uses the blockchain, and it's so much faster than the multiple hands that it goes through today. So that's what's going on. I think it's a much simpler, faster, easier, more secure way to transfer money, and so these banks and countries potentially are going to be using it to move currencies around, right? To move wealth around, money around, make payments.
You see the next line down there?
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous because I mean, think about it. Today's banking system is so outdated compared to how the blockchain works, right?
Yeah.
It's you've got multiple hands out there taking their components or their commissions or a slice of it as it moves through their bank or their holding company or whatever, and then it takes 3 or 4 days before money actually resolves and as it's finally done, which is insane.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell this on me because I'm I'm presenting this, but in some ways because of my Bitcoin dominance blinders, I was kind of unprepared for this, and I have a Roth IRA with a company that it's called Choice, that specializes in cryptocurrencies, and I can buy most, well, let's say the top 15 cryptos I can buy in there, but HBAR is not one that they allow. And so the other day when Bitcoin went to 101,000, I decided to swap what Bitcoin I had in my phone wallet to HBAR, and that was no problem. I could swap it through the wallet. But a couple of days later, I decided I wanted to buy some more, and I didn't have I didn't have an account with Coinbase or anybody like that, and I thought, well, I'll open one, and then I got kind of shocked with all the KYC that they wanted, and including filing an IRS form with them, and that looked like that was maybe going to take a week for all that to resolve. And so, well, but before that, let me back up. I decided to just buy HBAR through my wallet, and I tried every credit card I have and every bank account pretty much that I have, and none of them would accept a payment to crypto. And so, anybody find that interesting or surprising?
So I'm trying to understand it. Because I've got Coinbases where I've done it, and then there's a couple of exchanges I've used. And once you go through the KYC thing, you just attach an account, so I can have it go from my banking account, from my credit card, from wherever I want.
Well, um, yeah, but I just don't have an exchange account, and I didn't want to give that much of my information to these guys either. And
Yeah.
and
Well, and I guess maybe I don't know what that is, but I did that years ago, and so I don't really
yeah,
think about it, you know.
right,
So
right. But I was just bringing up the fact that this is not as easy, especially when you're dealing with altcoins as it is with the Ethereum and Bitcoin, because they have ETFs, and I can trade them in my regular brokerage account. I can trade those through PayPal, without having to get involved with custody or knowing what I'm doing, for example. And but
and that can be weird though, because that's the classic, not your keys, not your crypto, though.
but that's true. But but not as likely to lose it either with these big holders that are actually insured. But,
Well, the way I do it, I because when I bought XRP, for example, years ago, it was it wasn't available on Coinbase because they were going through that lawsuit and they
right.
delisted it. And so I went through, I think it was KuCoin is the exchange I bought it on. And I think I bought it using, I can't remember what other cryptocurrency, and then shifted it into XRP and then transferred that to, I've got a hardware wallet, I
Mhm.
use a Ledger wallet. And so that, that was a little bit of rigmarole to make that happen. The weird part, though, that I didn't realize at the time because I was pretty new there, is that every time you switch from one cryptocurrency to the other, that's a taxable event. It's not just like,
Yeah.
uh, it's not just like moving it from one account to another. It's those became like tax liabilities.
Yep.
So,
Which is why they want to collect an I-9 on everybody.
right, exactly. And they didn't push that as much, but the IRS will want to know that. So I would, maybe I'm just afraid of an audit, so I'm watching that very closely. But it's every time you trade anything, going from one thing even to a stable coin, it's still a taxable event.
I'm
That's
hope,
right.
I'm hoping that may change in 25, but we'll see.
That's what I'm hearing. Trump's making it sound like all that it's going to go away, but we'll see.
But anyway, how I got around it, well, I haven't yet, but I have the Bitcoin to do it now anyway. But I had an account with Mike and I opened up Strike accounts a while back, and Strike, Strike, allows you to buy up to, I think it's up to $4,000 worth of Bitcoin without KYC.
Huh.
And you just attach it to your bank account, with um, what is that, planner or whatever, plaid, and and I was able to instantly buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, and I have to leave it sitting there for a few days before I can transfer it either to my wallet, or which would be my plan, transfer it to my wallet, and then I can exchange that Bitcoin for HBAR through my wallet. So anyway, that's my plan now. So that was a way to do it, because my my Roth IRA custodian would not allow me to buy HBAR. So anyway, that's my story. So one of the things I wanted to bring up was, what could these type of assets do for a Roth IRA, or even a health savings account? Anybody ever thought about investing your health savings account into crypto?
No, didn't know it was possible.
Well, it is, with at least Bitcoin and Ethereum, because there's many ETFs out there that you can buy, and there will be multiple XRP ETFs in 25. So that gets down at least to that level. So,
Would that possibly depend on the bank that you have your HSA with?
well, your HSA has to allow you to buy individual securities,
Right.
which most of them do once you get your high deductible covered with enough
Yeah.
money there, then they will let you invest what you don't expect to use
Right.
in that year. And but the interesting thing with something like cryptos, you could actually, people talk about this all the time with financing their retirement with crypto, but you could also finance your medical needs, including nursing care and things like that, out of your HSA if you had good enough return.
Well, that's the tricky bit, though, right? Because I don't, and maybe this is where I'm skewed in the way I look at cryptocurrency, but it's for me not where I'm putting most of my effort. It's money that's kind of funny money. I'd love it to go big and make me a lot of money and work out, but I don't know that I'm going to retire on my crypto, right? And maybe, I mean, maybe I'll be a multimillionaire because it all works out great, but it could also evaporate, and the U.S. decides to go after it like they did the last 4 years, and it could go both ways for me, and so I would be more inclined, well, just personally, we have more in not individual stocks, but in mutual funds, and I guess we do have some individual stocks and real estate and that type of thing, to look at retirement rather than folding everything into crypto, which is much more volatile and for me sketchy, right? Even though it's money that I hope doesn't go away, but if it does, it's that's a bummer, but it's not going to kill us retirement wise.
Well, that's kind of the good thing about it, in that a fairly small percentage, which is what I would definitely recommend, and I would do it after you do the things the kind of things that you've already talked about. I would add a position in silver and gold, and ahead of this, for example. But if you just take the averages of one that's not doing so great right now, Bitcoin, a small 1 or 2% of your portfolio, stuck in an IRA or a health savings account, could have a real meaningful impact on your retirement or your healthcare future.
Yeah, and are you saying that it's not doing so well because it's at 96,000? That seems like it's
Yeah.
doing amazing. I mean, it's come down. It was at 103, I think was the high there, but it's doing amazing in my opinion. Crypto's gone berserk in the last month and a half, and and it's all, even though it is dipping where from its peak, it's going berserk, and I anticipate it's going to go much more next year if everything is sounding and looking like it is today. I mean, some of these things like XRP, if you and you, of course you can trust the internet, but the YouTube and so forth, but they're anticipating that being $10 a coin. There's a lot of other people that are saying that's going to go to $1,000 or $100 or whatever. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but I can see it going to 10. And it's just getting there now. XRP is at like 2.25. I don't know what it is today, but so all of those things have potential to go up a lot. But again, they could also drop down. And the way I look at it, because maybe I'm committed to this concept. If XRP or Bitcoin dropped back down to where it was a month ago, I'd be buying a lot more, right? I'd say, oh, score, because I think it's going to go up, right? But that's just because I'm committed to the concept, right? It's almost, I have little thought of why it might be dipping down right this second or going up right this second. I think over time it's going to go up dramatically, in my opinion. It's like I watched a guy on YouTube that was saying, he showed his video from, I guess, 8-10 years ago, something like that, where he was encouraging everyone to just Bitcoin's at $1. You're not going to go wrong with $1. Just buy
Right.
a few Bitcoin at $1 a piece and just hang on to it. Right.
Yep.
And anyone that did that guy was a multi-billionaire, right? Because he bought thousands of them.
I would say that I generally concur, except for I have less. I still do a 401k. I just have less confidence that it'll actually be there. So I actually internally consider that my bet.
Yeah. So are you, Mike, are you saying that it'll not going to be there because the stock market could just crash? Is that what you're thinking?
I have doubts about uh, the debt load that the country's carrying and the value of the dollar.
I'm 100% with you, but for whatever reason, that one has more history, I guess, than crypto does. So are you rolling everything out of stocks and putting it all in crypto? Or are you?
No, no, I mean I participate through my 401k program at work and everything. It's just that I guess I just really consider it more gambling than I do
Yeah.
crypto, just because I just feel like it's unlikely to. It just feels like you can only kick that can down the road so long is what it
No,
feels like.
I totally agree. And with us, we're more into real estate than anything, just so you know. That's where we're hoping to be able to retire. And
Yeah,
the rest of it is like, okay, but real estate is also another one. I see a real estate crash coming. Things are way overpriced.
I
And
agree with that. There was actually a post today or yesterday by Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad guy, and his
yeah,
his observation was that the boomer generation created the real estate boom as an investment, the stock market boom, the bond market boom, and that the passing of the torch from the boomer generation will result in those markets crashing, and that he predicts that crypto, I think he said Bitcoin in particular, but crypto
yeah,
will be the next frontier.
absolutely, he's a big Bitcoin guy, and he's a big gold and silver guy. I mean,
Yeah,
but he's also the one that if you watch some of his stuff or read his books, he made tons of money by when
real
the
estate.
stock market crashed. He bought
Yeah.
everything up for pennies on the dollar, and that's where he's made his money.
He
You know?
did, yeah. And I know he was big into real estate, but I thought it was interesting that he was tying the booms of those markets to the boomer generation and then predicting that the passing of that torch will also result in their
Yeah.
crashing, I guess,
Well,
or
yeah.
decline.
Well, he is definitely pessimistic on the whole real estate market. He thinks our economy is in for a big crash in the next few months. I mean, just generally, he thinks it's
Yeah,
going to be really rough. And
yeah,
I have to agree with him. I'm there. I think we're primed for it.
we are.
So
There's a lot of cards, a lot of cards showing that don't look good.
yeah, absolutely. And he's also the one who brings up, if you listen to him or read his books, he talks about, when he was in Vietnam or something, when he was in the military, he had purchased gold, and then, it was illegal to own gold, right? Because that type of stupidity could happen again,
Yeah.
right? I feel like it's all up for grabs, especially when some of these things, like especially cryptocurrency, in my opinion, is a threat to our government's control. And I think the cat is a little bit out of the bag. They're going to have a hard time stopping it at this point, but they could enact laws that say no, this is wrong. You can't do this. We're going to seize assets. Whatever. All that could happen, right? But we'll
But
see.
look
You
at
know.
China when they
Right.
tried. It didn't last very long.
Yeah, it's true. Well, China's done it a couple times too. I think you
They're
probably
back,
know that.
they're back in the mining business now, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And there's Trump is obviously he's like wanting to make the US a crypto powerhouse, right? Make it all energy cheap and come mine Bitcoin or whatever else here, make it go go go. But that can change, and
Yeah.
so I think it's for me it's just one of the many things. I'm really positive about it. The last month or so has been amazing, but it could change.
I also agree that I'm somewhat, the next dip, I think is a prime time to get in as well. So, I wouldn't lament it dropping again personally.
Yeah, well, I agree. But it's all perspective, though, because if you think about it, if and this is my experience. So I heard about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency back when it was just it felt fake. There was nothing. It just felt like the really fringe people were doing something on the internet. It felt like it might be even illegal. It just felt weird, right? And then that's when it was like $1 or less per coin, that type of thing. But then I came back to it and started really being interested when it was about 14, $15,000. And it was right at a surge. It had risen up dramatically, and the months before it reached that point. And I thought, oh well, I guess I missed that one, right? And at 14, $15,000, I think we'd all be buying into Bitcoin like as much as we could right now to have it go up to 100,000 where it's at. But right now, it seems like it's really high and it's reached these all-time highs and so forth. What if it really does go to $1 million like they're suggesting, a coin? Or 1.66 is what I heard from what's his name, Sailors, the guy. He bought 21,000 Bitcoins last week.
Hmm.
A 2 point something $billion in Bitcoin he bought last week,
Wow.
right? And because he is bullish on the Bitcoin, he does. He said in his little thing on YouTube that he thinks it's going to go to $1.66 million, and I don't remember how he got to that number per coin, but that's where he thinks it's going.
Good to know.
Yeah. Well,
So,
good to know if it goes there, right?
so
Yeah,
that
but I mean that's somebody would consider a lot smarter than me. And
Yeah, he's if you watched any of his stuff or heard about him at all, he's huge on Bitcoin. I mean, he is 100% all in, which is weird for me because again, like I'm not all in. I wouldn't convert everything we own and put it into Bitcoin. Uh, I would if I thought yes, it's absolutely going to 1.66 million in the next 10 years, right? Because I'd be wealthy. But in
yeah,
the end, I could see, I really could see something changing in how things go with crypto and having it just,
the
you know,
regulatory environment.
yeah, it
Yeah,
could go into stagnant, never go anywhere, or it could go, like everyone wants it to the moon, and it's
or
hard
they
to
can
tell,
make it illegal.
right? Or make it illegal, right? Just like gold was, which is a shocking kind of a concept to me that they've made gold illegal to own,
Right.
you
I
know?
agree with you. I mean, that's why I wouldn't go all in either because I don't have enough flexibility or assets to back out of that if it doesn't go well.
Right. The way we look at it all is we've put money in it. If it evaporates to nothing, we're still okay. We'd rather it didn't, but we're
Mhm.
still okay. And if it goes crazy, yay, I'm going to take profits in there somewhere and pay off everything that we put into it. So we're just on free money and then just let it go as far as it can go.
Yeah. I'll say
Yeah.
I'm also mentally prepared to keep working until I am no longer able to. I I'm not planning on being able to enjoy the the retirement that previous generations have.
Yeah, well, I still want to retire, but I don't know exactly how to make that happen yet, right? So,
You just have to pull that trigger. I
yeah, exactly.
that too.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to do it today, but anyway. Um, so anyway, what I'm hearing you say is that you're perfectly willing to use real estate as your vehicle for retirement, but you're leery about using crypto as your
Well, and the thing that draws me to real estate, and this gets back to Kiyosaki, by the way. He's years and years ago I read his books, and it's something that's tangible. I can go live in one of the homes that we bought.
Mhm.
And I can mow the lawn and paint the house, and it goes up in value. Whereas stocks, I don't have that ability, and crypto, I definitely don't. So that's the reason that we're more into real estate, even though that also fluctuates dramatically. But it also, we've got properties that we rent, and so it's an income stream as well. So that's why we're going down that path. It's because it's something we can hold in our hands, which kind of goes towards the gold concept. You can hold gold and silver in your hand, and then it's something that you can have. But you know, it's there's other things about real estate. If you've any of you that have read Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff, you know all about this. But it's something that you can leverage more than anything else. I mean, you put a 20% down on $100,000 home, and you control the whole thing with $20,000. I'm going to have a hard time doing that in crypto, right? Or it gets very speculative if some sketchy things, where I can't guarantee that it's going to work out. Or in stocks, you're going to have a hard time doing that. That feels very much like gambling, but it's a thing in real estate where you put a fraction of the price of the thing down, and then you control the whole asset, right?
Yep.
And then conversely, then you talk about Dave Ramsey. He's the other side of the spectrum. He's a get out of debt, pay everything off. The weird part of they're both heroes of mine, Kiyosaki and Ramsey, right? Because I agree with them both on many levels. Ramsey, by the way, he wants nothing to do with Bitcoin and crypto and so forth. He thinks cash is king. Everything's got to be paid off, and everything is tangible. You put it in real estate, put it in the stock market, but don't do that until after you paid everything off, right? Which is a smart move.
Yeah, I agree with his debt side, but I think he's a poor investor.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because he's been burned. That's why he got burned bad in real estate. You know.
He got burned in the last market crash too.
Yeah, well, yeah. At this point, I don't think he's burnable. He's got enough assets he's going to be shielded no matter what happens.
Yeah. But anyway, well, let's go on down to the next topics. One of the things that well, I kind of want to I guess bring it up here. We've talked about the rule of 72 several times, and if kind of the way that works is if you can get 10% return on your portfolio, whatever that happens to be in, then every 7.2 years, your money will double. So, what's the other side of that? If the other side of that is the inflation. If inflation is 10% while you're doing this, then your purchasing power cuts in half every 7.2 years. So if you just kept up with inflation, you made nothing. And I I'm I'm afraid a lot of real estate people don't understand that. You know, real estate looks like such a great deal, but you know, the house that we just talked about, that our first house that we bought for 21.9, many years ago, even though now it's probably worth $400,000 or something crazy. Um, that's just the inflation rate mostly in that time period. So anyway, we have to consider that too. And it's a tax, it's a bad tax on us because, even though we didn't really make anything inflation based, we get taxed on all that gain in many of our investments. So just another point of view to think about.
And that gets back to the rich dad poor dad concept is you don't sell. Cash flow is what he's always talking about, right? So you just keep it because again, it's just like crypto. If you trade it or sell it, it's a taxable event. Same thing with the real estate. As soon as you sell it, it's taxable. Um, and this goes against the get out of debt thing, but that Dave Ramsey would go against. But rich dad poor dad concept says, you got $100,000 in equity, draw some money out of that and go do it again.
Yep.
Right. And that's it. That's not taxable. You pull money out through a loan on your property and it's not taxable. You just go use that money to do whatever else you want. But that can be a house of cards depending on what happls, right?
Yep.
But
let's take that concept back to crypto. Same thing. Or stocks, all your brokerage accounts have that same ability to borrow against your stocks or borrow against your crypto now. If crypto is going up more than inflation, and enough to pay the interest on that loan, you can live on that forever. Just like people have been doing with real estate for centuries. So it's just at least the historical record, as little as it goes back. We don't have a lot of years there, but the historical record would say that Bitcoin is a much better retirement vehicle than real estate because of that. But what the next decade brings, we don't know. But anyway, so this week I asked AI another question about what would the next four years in blockchain and crypto bring to us. And there's a reason I said 4 years, but I didn't think AI gave me a very good answer, near as good as they did, or as concise answer as they did the week before. But anyway, so the answer was increased adoption and mainstream acceptance, which we've been seeing a tremendous amount of. Widespread acceptance of crypto payments, more business online marketplace and service providers will start accepting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. Now, you think about that. That's how I got some Bitcoin in my wallet, is I accepted Bitcoin as payment for some farm products. And I think any business that doesn't accept crypto is stupid. I mean, the year or so ago that I accepted that $100 worth of Bitcoin. It's tripled since then. Where if I'd just accepted cash, nothing would have happened. So I think that's a no-brainer for companies, and the more companies and institutions that start accepting this, I just think it's going, like somebody said, it's going to be real hard to put that genie back in the bottle, because everybody will have a vested interest to accept it. So blockchain-based financial services, traditional financial institutions increasingly adopt blockchain technology, even though they don't let you buy Bitcoin, but crypto, but they're using it themselves. And so I think that's going to be another thing that's going to pretty much keep it from going away. Tokenized assets. I mean, they're tokenizing the world, folks. Anybody heard of any recent things that are being tokenized? Commodities is one. I've used this wheat ETF, but they're doing that in the commodities exchanges. They're going in. Well, Pax Gold, for example. Anybody familiar with that crypto?
Which one?
Pax Gold, PAX. Anyway, I think there's three of them out there, but Pax is one of them.
So I think so. Isn't that essentially it just matches the price of gold? You buy that, and then it's like
Right.
you're owning gold.
Yeah, but you actually do own gold, which is the interesting thing about it. They're backed in the back store of your gold is coded down to a particular bar in a particular vault in a Swiss bank.
Interesting.
And so every transaction that you do on that blockchain, it ties back to a particular bar.
Is that the one on the Polygon blockchain? I think it is.
I believe so. But it's real interesting. You can actually go in and see, where your gold is. And so it keeps them honest. But I think that's a perfectly legitimate way to own gold. I think it's certainly as safe as an ETF. I would prefer it over GLD because I'm not for sure at all that GLD has the gold, but I'm pretty sure their gold has been hypothecated and rehypothecated. But this Pax Gold seems to be rock solid, so to speak. But apparently they're planning on doing this on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange too, with real wheat in an elevator where your bushel of wheat will show on the blockchain and where it's at. So thought that was interesting. And of course, DeFi is kind of gotten a bad name in a few years, but seems to be coming back with better products and safer products, and they're just kind of begging for some real regulation, and figure out what the playing field is and how everybody can get into it. And I think the big banks and things are ones that are really getting into that. So we will see on that. But and of course CBDCs, that is happening in Ukraine, for example, of all places. And these minor coins that we've been talking about tonight are already in use in Ukraine, and their new CBD, their virtual currency or digital currency. They've kind of been forced into it. So improved financial inclusion and access, borderless payments. Okay, we got the BRICS coming in there big time. And Trump trying to play hardball with China, and which they've said, okay, we're not going to get any gallium, or what was the other thing they said they weren't going to allow us to have? two rare earth minerals or metals. It's the other thing that's I think they're gonna trump us on that. And improved anti-money laundering, and of course the KYC on the blockchain and all that stuff. Trying to wrap it up so you can't buy it or own it without KYC. Still some ways around that, but probably won't be. So, theoretically, blockchain should make transactions tamper-proof and reducing the risk of fraud and corruption. There's an FBI agent I listened to, and he said that most crooks don't realize how open the blockchain is, especially for Bitcoin, and they're learning though, and there's very little corruption going on the blockchain compared to other things like cash. It's much more secure than cash. So anyway, potential risk, which I think we pretty much already discussed, was regulatory uncertainty, market volatility, and securities risk, as with any digital technology. Since we can't even define whether it's a security or not, that's one of our problems. Anybody have any thoughts about how that will play out and how soon?
Are we talking about XRP again?
We could be, but actually, in any coin, pretty much. I think. I think the only one that really has a definition would be Bitcoin. That's definitely not a security. So yeah, we can say XRP.
Well, the other part is, are they currencies? That's the other weird part, right?
I would hope they would.
It's like what are they? That's the weird. It's different because there's an argument. I can understand, even though I disagree with them wholeheartedly, the concept around XRP being a security, because it's one company. They created this blockchain. They're doing this all this stuff, but it's using the blockchain technology, and it's open. So I mean, I don't see any of them as securities. I think they're different than stocks. But then when like you're talking about the tokenization and ETFs and all of that, it becomes, okay, well, what is it then? It just becomes who controls it.
Yeah, I mean, Ethereum. I don't know, since there's 8 Ethereum ETFs out there, including ETH. And
I had a question, Winston, about Bitcoin or other. In previous conversations, I think I came to understand, or it seemed to be that there's a finite amount of Bitcoin. It's like it's not never ending or infinity Bitcoin. And I was just curious about all the people that are buying Bitcoin now, billions of dollars of Bitcoin. Where is the end of Bitcoin, or is it infinite? Can it be infinite?
One of you guys want to address that?
It can be divided into smaller quantities infinitely, but there will be a finite amount which can be mined. And so if more Bitcoin is demanded, it will just be sliced into smaller quantities.
So the number's 21 million is the total Bitcoin that will ever be mined. And they estimate that maybe 3 million of that have been already lost because people have lost their passwords and whatever, and they're not in play anymore. So it's definitely a finite amount of total Bitcoin. And the concept of mining, I don't know, Lyle, if you know how that works, but the concept of mining is they're coming into, they're being created as they, do complex math calculations, and they pull out for the work that they do. They essentially are rewarded by with Bitcoin, and so at some point in the future, once we get to that 21 million, there will be no more rewards. It's over, right? But not all cryptocurrencies like that. Ethereum doesn't have that, for example, and XRP doesn't have it. And I don't think ADA has that, but I'm not sure. Maybe ADA, because some of them create new all the time. They have their own, they call it tokenomics, right? Where it's how it's governed. What happens? Do new tokens created? Are they some of them are burned when transactions happen, so that means they go away. There's all sorts of different strategies on, and it's based on each token, each cryptocurrency, right? I don't know if that answers your question, Lyle.
Well, it does and it doesn't. When you're talking about people buying billions of dollars of it, I would think, well, that's a pretty good chunk already.
They got to
Well,
convince somebody else
that
to
was
do it.
that was 21. That was last week, and he bought 21,000 Bitcoin. Okay, and it was 2 point something billion, $2.178 billion.
And keep in mind, most people, when they're buying them, they're buying fractions of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, that's if I was to buy some, that would be all I could buy was a minute fraction.
right. And that's okay.
Yeah, you can buy $1 of Bitcoin today,
Right.
right?
Yeah, just a lot of decimal places.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it goes the other way for other cryptos too. I mean, I've got a million OMI tokens, and it comes up to like $300, right?
Oh, what kind
So
of tokens?
OMI, OMI.
That
But so I'm a millionaire when it comes to OMI,
There you
right?
go.
But it's not worth much, right? So it goes both ways. So I'd love it if OMI went to point. I think right now it's 0.000. I think there's 4 zeros and a 3 per token. Is what I own there. But if that went up to a half a cent, I'd be really rich, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the token, but Bitcoin. They in fact, I think they call it the cents in Bitcoin would be Satoshis. That's how
Yeah.
they talk about it. Instead of having a Bitcoin, you get 100 Satoshis out of a Bitcoin.
Right. So you can think of it like if the US dollar went the other direction and became worth so much that $1 bought a truckload of bread, we would just have to get smaller and smaller coins to divide it up.
Right.
That would be deflation.
Yep. Don't see that coming.
So Bitcoin is actually in a inflationary environment, which is interesting to think about. So, okay, we better start wrapping up here. Anyway, so AI's ideas are stay informed, continuously educate yourself about blockchain and crypto, diversify your investments, spread your investments across different asset classes to minimize risk. And I would say if you're just into crypto, then multiple cryptos of different varieties. Consult with financial experts. Lots of luck on that with crypto, but be cautious and patient. Avoid making impulsive investment decisions and be prepared to make for market fluctuations. Boy, we have really had market fluctuations in these altcoins, especially in the last week or so.
So I'm interested to hear what altcoins you're interested in, or who on the call who's interested. You know.
Solana right now for me.
Yeah, I'm a big Solana fan too. It's been going up like crazy too.
Yep.
So the ones I've got that I really care about are Bitcoin, which is an altcoin, but then Ethereum, Solana, XRP, uh, and Cardano. Those
Uh,
those
Same with me.
those are
Uh,
the ones I track. And but I'm interested. I've seen Dogecoin going like crazy. I have a hard time spending any money on that one because I think it's a joke,
Same.
right?
I've never bought into it.
Yeah, but I mean, people are making money like crazy,
Right.
because it's been
Yeah,
going up
I
like
think you named
crazy.
all the same ones I did. I also have a lot of Litecoin that I mined back in the day that I'd love to get rid of if it ever went up high again, but
Well,
Well,
it went up pretty high in the last month.
not high enough.
Okay.
I mean, not it I'd like to see it back over 200 bucks at some point, but it didn't quite get there.
I was surprised at how well it did in the last 30 days.
Yeah, me too. There was a time where I was, I guess you'd say I was a believer in it, but I don't really see a place for it anymore.
so the one that I've been looking at is like Stellar Lumens. That's gone crazy,
Yeah.
and Algorand's done pretty good. And there was another one. I can't think of it, but there's a handful of them that made me go, "Oh wow, what are you doing? What's going on there?"
Hmm.
And they even say we're not in altcoin season yet. That's supposed to be still coming. You know.
So when you're looking at different cryptocurrencies, is there a place where you can go on and just like get that category and see what all the cryptocurrencies are doing?
So I use CoinMarketCap. It's just a website. I also get some information like that from Coinbase. So they're both free accounts, but that I usually, if I'm buying things right now, I usually use Coinbase, but the coin market cap just gives all the I don't know if it's all, but many thousands of cryptocurrencies, and then on each one it'll show how it's done, how it's performed, what its purpose is, because each one has its own website too. You can go check out what it is that they're trying to do, because they don't just create them for nothing. Maybe they do some of them, but they all have a purpose. They're trying to solve some problem or do something with either DeFi or security. That I've got some VET. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but the VeChain that's supposed to help with verifying the reliability, or not the it's not reliability. It's the if it's real, genuine, whatever. So if you have a Rolex watch, it would potentially have a number from the VET blockchain, I guess, that would verify that it is real, instead of what some knockoff that you get in China or whatever that looks real and is not. That type of thing. And it's a Chinese cryptocurrency that's supposed to be helping regulate those knockoffs, right? But I mean, there's each coin has a different thing it's trying to do. That's and so you can just go look, and if you're like me, I end up going down rabbit holes on YouTube and the internet just because there's thousands of them, right? And inevitably there's someone trying to shill it like this is the best thing since sliced bread. It's going to go up, it's a penny now. It's going to go up to $10,000 next year, and you're going to be so wealthy if you just do a little bit. And you have to just, at least I roll my eyes and go, okay, I heard that about Bitcoin too, but I didn't jump in, so maybe I'll jump in later. Or, maybe I'll pick a good one. But it's just there's a whole bunch of them, Lyle, that you can just you can go for days and days and days looking at
Okay,
them.
good. Thanks.
Lyle, there on the screen is what I have right now. A little
Yeah.
ownership, at least all of these.
Right.
Yeah, if you're looking to get started, probably the easiest, most beginner friendly is probably just creating an account on Coinbase and
Yeah, that's a good one. It's easy.
yeah.
I would if
Okay.
you're only going to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and possibly XRP in the future, I would recommend getting even simpler than that and just buying them in your brokerage account. through ETFs.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't have to learn anything. There's no learning curve. There's no
So what
So that,
what is the ETF brokerage account?
well, just your normal brokerage account.
so it's essentially stocks. It's just essentially you'd buy it like any other stock or mutual fund or whatever. You just you buy it in Fidelity or whatever you're using.
Is that like your Schwab account?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be your
Yeah.
Schwab account. Yeah. But I would recommend, Lyle, if you're, I don't know if you're already into this or not, but I think there's a certain amount of learning you want to do, right? Just to understand it better and go out and, read some of their websites and
Yeah. Well, I
I
tell
think,
you, where I'm at right now is I've got a 401k from my company that I work with, and I don't have anything else. And I've the last year or so I've been making Roth contributions instead of my standard contributions. And what I think I want to do is open up a Roth IRA and move some of that over into my Roth IRA and contribute to the new Roth IRA. But I don't know if that Roth IRA will have the flexibility to buy the things I want to buy.
It depends how detailed, like there are companies that have Roth IRAs that specialize in crypto. Like I said, I have one called Choice. I don't know whether I'd necessarily recommend that. I noticed they were charging me a lot of commissions when I was buying not
Uh-huh.
volume. They were charged, like my Charles Schwab account, I can buy almost any stock or ETF without a commission at all. And they were charging me $14.95 per transaction from Choice, and then another $14.95 from Coinbase.
Is that your Roth
That's
that was charging you?
yes. But there's another company called iTrust that has a similar capability that's I'd probably recommend more than Choice at this point. But anyway, there's other ways, and of course you can buy the top 3 or 4 in your PayPal account. Another way to basically know nothing and invest in crypto.
so, and because I went through the whole Celsius craziness,
Mhm.
I'm a hard pass on PayPal and anyone that's holding those keys. If I own the crypto, I want the keys.
Yeah.
Right?
There's definitely one disadvantage to PayPal is you can't transfer it out to you just have to sell it. You can't transfer it out to your wallet.
Yeah.
But
Which, Lyle, just so you know what that is, it's all it is. It's like a kind of think of like a thumb drive that has your information on it. So it doesn't store the cryptocurrency on the key, but it's the key to open up your account on the blockchain, so you can see what you have essentially. And with that, you store it there. They call it a hardware wallet, and you store it. And then it's essentially no matter what happens, you can always come back to that. At least that's the theory.
Okay. I know my company has a wallet.
hmm.
Yeah.
For crypto?
Well, not crypto. I don't know the extent of the wallet, but they've got a wallet venue that you can use.
Yeah, one of my HSA managers had that capability. So, um,
Mhm. Good night, Mike.
start sharing and how about Deborah? You haven't asked any questions all night.
No, I'm not big into crypto. You guys have talked circles around me and I have listened, and then my husband came in, he knows more. But yeah, I'm a lost soul there. But I did listen. But all the acronyms, I felt like, I was in the government again.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things that you kind of have to get in and you know buy $50 worth and see what happens. But
Yeah,
you learn by doing. It's just like making.
that's probably true. You learn by doing. That is true.
I've learned a lot in the last week by doing things that I hadn't done before. Well, let's pause, stop recording here. And,